All right, welcome back, folks, for another episode of your favorite D2C podcast, Equation of Excellence. I have just the character of characters, the massively awesome human. I think we first connected in person at the Usher Suite, if I don't recall. We had a pretty good time there. We turned up a little bit. Great idea. Shout out Lex. It absolutely landed. But Arjun Rastogi, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, dude, you have such a creative kind of. I love talking to people like you because people that have like linear lives are so boring. You know what I mean? I love people with these jagged journeys to get into this really interesting end game. So, for people that don't know you, let's jump into kind of the elevator pitch, like where you were, where you are, where you're going.
And so it's been a wild journey these last, like, I'd say, 7 years out of college. So what I originally wanted to do with my life was, like, I knew I wanted to be in business in some capacity, and I thought maybe that was going to be through the finance route. So I went to school and ended up with an economics degree. I switched over like kind of halfway through.
I did the same thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. I had it. I like, transparently, I didn't get into the business school. Like, you had to apply in order to get in, and I applied, and I was like, damn, like, all right, so finance and marketing is not even an option because I'm not getting in there. So I pivoted to econ, and I really liked econ. I felt like econ really gave me a very broad sense of just how the world works, how money works, how just people make decisions on a very fundamental level. And so when I started there, I had no real like path to what the next step I was going to do right after college. And then I got plugged in at Vayner. So I was listening to another one of your episodes, and it's really interesting because you mentioned something about how like agency experience really just like pushes you and propels you into a space that you really get to see different aspects of the business, at least, from a marketing standpoint. And so I spent a good like 5.5 years at Vayner. And that's where I got plugged in as we moved. And they were a pre-revenue, pre-launch brand that I started working with as an account.
I did not know.
Yeah. They came into our doors in February 2020 through like one of the new business inquiry forms. So my team and I, we looked at it. I became an account person at the end of the day there. And one of the prior roles before As We Move came into play was that I headed up this program called the 4Ds program that Vayner hosted. And it was a 12-hour full day immersion that marketers, operators, business owners would come to learn from like Vayner leadership, including Gary himself. And that really gave me a well-rounded understanding of all the aspects that go into digital marketing. So that was a really good foundation for my career to then kind of take that step.
What did the D stand for?
Do you remember? Digital Discovery and Deep Dive.
Deep Dive, okay. But you said
I think the program's still running. Digital Discovery Deep Dive.
Oh, that's a cheat. That's a cheat. That's a really cool idea, though. That's a really cool initiative.
It was awesome. It was a very educational thing. And at that time, when you're in these, I wouldn't call Vayner one of those traditional agencies, but it was massive. And you're working with your Budweisers of the world, JP Morgan Chases. And so there wasn't really an opportunity for the not Fortune 500 client to come in the door and really like be able to work with Vayner or learn anything from Gary or meet Gary. So this was kind of that entry level place where people would actually come and they can then bring their team with them, or they could then go hire us, or they could go hire internally because we taught them all the kind of bells and whistles that they need to have.
I love that.
That was like absolutely crucial to my kind of like, I had no idea about marketing. I didn't care about marketing. I didn't think 10 years ago when I was in college, it didn't seem like marketing was the coolest thing ever. As soon as I got out of college, marketing took off. And so it was a really cool experience to have that. And then I transitioned over kind of as an account person. When As We Move came in, and we had a couple other people that were going to be running media for us. However, like something happened, they moved to a different team. And it came to a place where my manager at the time basically was like, Arjun, we need to find some new media buyers. And I was like, Nick, this is the time where I'm going to learn. It's going to be me. And so I took it upon myself, self-learn Facebook ads, Google ads.
Love this.
And as an account person, I became a media buyer. And that's where my journey with As You Move really begun in 2020. So April 2020 is when we launched the business officially, started running ads, had the website up and running, made sure all the product and inventory was kind of settled where it needed to be. And then we were off to the races from there.
Man, that's such a cool journey. And that, like, how do you navigate something like that in terms of, I mean, honestly, how did you just get buy-in from the founders, right? Because like as a founder, there's a certain aspect of like, dude, I'm trying to build this empire, and like I'm just gonna hire this kid that doesn't know anything. I mean, to be fair, you're super charismatic and you can hold a room, but was that like at all an issue, or they were just all in? They just like, you guys just totally vibe checked and everything just
There was a lot of
rest is
trust,
history.
of
Yeah.
course, and
Yeah.
more so rather than the founder standpoint, it was my manager really like trusting me and like what I'm
Amazing.
telling him, like, hey, I'm ready for this. Like, this is what I want to do. At least like I knew I needed to develop a hard skill. It's awesome to be able to, speak with
100%.
people, be charismatic and like get through that way and be that account person that handles everything. But at the end of the day, I wanted like a hard skill that I could hang my hat on and say, like, I know how to do this technically. And so that was really big for me for him to trust. I basically said, look, like in the first like 3 weeks, like if I'm not good at this, like we can pull a media buyer onto the team and like I'll go back to being just an account person and
Yeah.
we'll go from there. But oh my God, this was, right when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
just,
thought I was made of magic. I
I'm
was
it,
like,
baby.
wow, I am putting in $2. I'm getting
Yeah.
$20 back. It
Yeah.
was it was a it was a
I need another comment this
it was lo-
paycheck. People like, what's going on? I'm killing
I
it.
felt like I was in slot machines. I'm
Yeah.
just like pouring money in and like money is just coming in the door. And at that time you get the Shopify app and it's the beginning of COVID,
Yes.
beginning of the height of e-commerce. And I just hear the cha-ching,
Mm.
cha-ching, cha-ching. And we're just like over the moon. And from there, I just had to continue. Obviously the results did not stay the same. No 10x ROAS, no 8x
Yeah.
ROAS. And now we're in the days of one,
Yeah.
hopefully, kind
Hopefully.
of thing. So
Good days.
the world has changed quite a bit since then, but I've been able to maneuver my way through where nowadays I'm thankful that I also don't run ads and run media myself anymore. So
Yeah.
that was also a nice little phase that I had.
It's so interesting how that works, because I had the exact same thing. And I also think as like quasi finance boys, economists, like there is this certain, it's almost like the Timu of investing, where it's like you get the same market dynamics, you just don't get the same payoff of like, oh, dude,
Exactly.
I hit a 10x ROAS is not the same as like a 10x, like a 10 bagger on your investment or something like that.
Right. Of
Where it's
course. Of
like,
course.
but it's the same kind of itch being scratched, if you're, for me, anyways. But I think that's such a great career path, because I mean, obviously I'm biased because that was the same career path that I found, where it was easier for me to ask people for money when I made them money, and I could ask for more money because they're like, dude, you're making me money. And being close to the money is, I have like this kind of thesis on proximity to profit. Like the closer you are to the money, the harder it is for you to get fired, because you're literally integral. Whereas like, where social is important, I think of marketing as an ecosystem, but like there's at best dotted lines to profit in actual revenue from social, where it's like media buying and acquisition and retention. You're right there generating the lifeblood of the business. But at the same time, I love how you've elevated yourself out to be able to understand that area, but then move into, I mean, candidly, that's why VPs, heads of marketing, all these people get paid more, is because their decisions have way more impact. Might not seem like it, but like you can screw the business or make the business robust for the next 2 to 3 years. Whereas like a media buyer, yes, you can kind of screw the business up, but you're going to be down for maybe a month at best. You know what I mean? Like there's just different scales of impact that you have. And I think that the way your brain works, it's more fun to be the kind of general and puppet master the whole thing than being, because there's nothing wrong with being the cog in that machine and being that expert. But it starts to get, or for me anyways, you're like, man, I want to take the next step up, right? And then be, okay, now this is just a fiefdom in my kingdom that I can then manage. Did you have that kind of same vibe, or like what was your head?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very, very similar. So one thing I learned at the end of the day was I'm spending the client's dollars.
Yes.
I am making them money or losing them money,
Yes.
depending on it. And if I don't understand a little bit of the OpEx, I'm not saying I got access to everything, but we were integral partners to help launch the business,
Yes.
both from a website standpoint, just making everything like that we feel good that to turn on media. The closer you are to the money, the control is the wrong word, but you have a little bit more of a deeper understanding of what the business needs at the end of the
Yes.
day,
So well.
right?
So
And
well.
if you're not close to that, you're actually very much so really far away from it.
Yes. Yeah.
And the more removed you are, the less like personal care you have. And of course, in the agency life, you learn so many different things. You work with so many clients. You can
Yes.
only feel that level of care and investment with
Yeah.
so many, right? And
Correct.
you do your best to like put your best foot forward for every single client that you service. But at the end of the day, there's only like a handful that you can really like care day in and day out on a deeper level. And that
Completely.
comes from knowing what the goals of the business are, caring for the founders, caring for the people involved, especially when we're pre-revenue, pre-launch. It was the founders and then me and my manager, the four
Yeah.
of us. And
Yeah.
then the rest of it was like, okay, let's find another agency partner for email. Let's find another agency partner for X.
Love
I
that.
was media buyer. So I'm like understanding not the P&L from day one, but we didn't have any real L's and we also didn't have profit. So we were just like starting from zero. So it
Yeah.
was really nice to get that experience. And then eventually, when I saw the retention side of the business, not suffering by any means, but more so my attention to detail on my close eye of what's happening in email, like what emails are we sending, where are our flows, what's happening.
Yes.
That's when I had the confidence to or desire to go to the founders and let them know that, hey, like I love running ads. I can definitely still run ads, but I really don't want to. I see this big hole on our email side that's going to fuel the LTV of the insane CAC that we're seeing right now. And that's like important to me. And I want to just become a full, well-rounded marketer from that standpoint. So I took that step. We hired another media agency. I oversee them. We have our weekly meetings multiple times, on
Yeah.
Slack, just chatting every day about everything that's going on. And that gave me a little bit of a step up to then now look at, okay, cool. Here's email, here's media, here's acquisition, here's retention. And now I'm like, okay, cool. I think that here are the new tech tools that we want to implement that I'm
Yes.
seeing in Shopify
Yeah.
come out. Because in that 2021 to 2023 phase, it's like anyone and everyone is coming out with an app for Shopify that is
Yes.
cool, that's really
Yes.
going to add to your bottom line. And so that was part of my role and my curiosity that I had of like, hey, Ishi, we should take a look at this. And that just gave me that not a 30,000 foot view, but I was able to take, instead of a 30,000 foot view, I got up to 5 to 7 to
Yes.
10,000 foot. And
Yes.
now I'm even getting higher and higher from just like understanding sales tax, understanding inventory, understanding kind of all customer service and how important every aspect is to the cog of the machine of marketing, but which is really just revenue generation.
Yes. Yes, dude. And revenue generation is basically just another word for happy customers. And so making
Exactly.
sure, like, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the other thing is, I think the order of operations you had is perfect, where you need a beachhead, and paid media is a great beachhead for acquisition. But then, okay, cool, I got the acquisition going. Now I need to go over here and realize, hey, we're paying all this money to get all these people in. Now what? Okay, cool. Let's get this over there. Oh, okay. Now we got the retention cranking. Okay, now what? Where's the? I just think that growth is really hard. Efficiency is easy. And so the way that you're
Yes.
prioritizing that of like, okay, now that we're growing, this is great, but now we need to grow more efficiently. And so like, because I think sometimes people get it backwards where they want to be efficient. And it's like, dude, efficiency is cheap, man. It's always easy to pull stuff back. It's very hard to find growth. It's very hard to sustain growth. And like once you find it, then you get the luxury to be like, okay, cool. Let me poke around here and see what I can cut off or how I can reduce things or how I can make things more efficient. But if you put efficiency first, man, you're going to sell one pair of underwear and be like, dude, we're profitable. You're like, cool. But like, yeah, I'm not taking that to the investors, or that's not doing anything for my bank account. Like we need scale and growth. And then we can work about, hey, what can we get, net 90s or net 180s or something. And we start to think about our cash conversion cycle, and like just the thinking gets more sophisticated as necessary. But dude, at the beginning, man, you just got to bite down on the mouthpiece and like, how can I get people to buy this fucking thing? And like by hook or by crook almost, right? Where it's like, dude, I know I have a great product, and how can I get it in people's hands?
And that was the fun part, because we were trying to figure out what is going to be the most efficient path, although not to only look for efficiency in general, but what was going to give us the best chance at success out the gate.
Yes.
So we handed out product left and right to any friends and family, got 100 reviews on both the two hero products that we had at the time, made sure that there is some real like customer reviews. They all did say verified purchaser reviews, gave them a discount code, etc. Made it happen. And you have to do that, because at the end of the day, the influx that, I think the stat is something like the average human sees 4,000 ads a day.
Yep.
Subconsciously, subliminally, wherever. And to be able to cut through that noise and get someone to purchase what we, is a very expensive product from a price point relative to the, most of the market. We placed ourselves that way very strategically, from a margin standpoint, from an ability to discount and have a scaling discount. So all of those things played in, and then eventually getting insight into liquidity, understanding our cash flow, and then understanding, okay, cool. Like you said, where can we get some better terms? Okay, maybe we switch Google Ads to monthly invoicing. Wow, that buys us X amount of time. Figure out different credit solutions.
Yes.
So it's really, it's been a really fun experience to just get the whole picture now.
Dude, yeah, I love it. I actually need to try it. Yeah, dude, I love your guys' website. Your guys, I'm a big,
I got you.
I'm a big connoisseur in fancy underwear. I've tried everything, Lulu, Stance, all these things, and it's almost that weird product where, because it's not in that luxury price point, but it's in that premium price point, I would say. But man, I'm a believer in spending money on things that you can amortize the cost. And so like underwear, sheets, towels, pillows, mattress, like those are the fast ways to make yourself feel rich, because like, yes, it might be a little bit of a nut at the beginning, but dude, you're going to sleep in your bed every night. You're going to sleep on your sheets every night. You usually ideally shower every day. So you're going to use your towels. And I think underwear is awesome. And the stealth skin branding, that's fucking gas, dude. That's heat. That's
our founder crushed it. I mean, he is he was awesome, and he's the model in all of the photography there.
Super Jack,
that is our founder.
No.
Yep. He's incredible.
Leave some for us, brother. You got a super crazy company, great product. You look like a Greek god. Like, come on, relax
we're working on it. We're working on it. So, there was something you said there that really was awesome, because when you're figuring out like the price point, the premium nature of it, there's a conversation at the beginning when, we didn't know exactly what we're going to price the product at.
Yeah.
They had an idea, they came to us, and then we increased it by 50%. And we're like, let's create room for us not to fall and keep getting up, but you get the runway at, 40% margin versus 80. There's a massive difference.
Huge.
And not even like, it's just really interesting to understand why we made those decisions now when I look back at it 5 years ago, to say, okay, I look back at the pricing matrix I built and understood, okay, cool, at this price, now we can offer not a buy more, save more opportunity where we know. And the cool thing about underwear is that it's that perfect blend of kind of like your apparel CPG retail, except it's consumable.
Yes, dude.
And
that's exactly right.
Was the fun part for us, because now product will if you follow our care instructions, product will last you like 2+, 3+ years.
Yeah.
However, everyone throws it in the washer and dryer. Everyone goes through different experiences. They do their thing, and we're very, very much so aware of the behavior of the customer. And I'd say creating a product that we can stand behind and is we were just awarded quite a few of our patents. That's going to be a conversation that we discuss, the machinery that our founders created with our factories. And there's a lot that's coming down the pike. And I'd say one of the challenges that we've historically always had is as Facebook turns down our ads.
Yep. I was going to say, because there's a lot of skin, right?
Nature of the product. Now we're going to come out with t-shirts and socks and build out our entire line and be able to put our product out in the wild. Even UGC has been tough for us. Other you can see the ad creative that we have live or 3D animated videos amongst all the standard other stuff in terms of reviews and all of that good stuff. But creating that feel with a 3D animator of like, we are a technology and utility company that happens to make fabric. And then within that fabric, we currently make underwear. And now we will make other products as well.
Dude, that is so interesting. I couldn't be more into it. I mean, that's basically like the Stance model, right? But they, instead of underwear, they started in socks, and then they started penetrating the rest of the closet. You have all these apparel companies going down that same path. I mean, Alo Yoga started in basically women's yoga, right? And then it's branched out. Like they make some of the, but I would buy a Stealth Skin shirt. Like that is just such an interesting way. It's the kind of the same vein of how Sean thinks of Ridge over at Ridge Wallets, where he's like, dude, we're just really, really good with aluminum. Like, what are the cool things that we can build with aluminum? Okay, let's do luggage. Let's do rings. Let's do this. Like all these things. And he doesn't have the thing that you have with the consumable. Because the other thing I have to say is there has to be a huge kind of lock-in switching cost with underwear. I don't know if other people feel like this, but like, dude, once I find like my underwear and my socks, dude, you're going to rip them from my dead cold hands. Like I just keep buying more and more of them. Like I never switch brands. It's almost like shoes as well. Like shoes has really high lock-in. Like once you get somebody, they don't ever churn. And then for you being able to now expand the line, like now I can get from underwear to activewear to t-shirts to then maybe even shorts or whatever, because you have that's such an interesting paradigm that we are a technology fabric company that monetizes through apparel. That is a bar, man. That is a really high level take on this. I love it.
It's incredible. And what I will say is that at the end of the day, we are what's closest to you. This is the thing you wear every single day, almost every moment of every day of your life. Are there moments you're not wearing underwear? Sure. But like at the end of the day, like this is the fabric, and even the t-shirts that we'll launch and everything will be base layer first before we come out with your standard kind of like a fashion tee. So all of our marketing, all of everything, we tested some fashion ideas, like from an ad standpoint, like a date night asset or something like that. And then I just monitored the cohort of that behavior of that customer, and they weren't our ideal customer. So all of our marketing, if you notice, is all performance focused, all function first, fashion last. You happen to look good, you know, and so that's been the ethos that's come down from the founder, and it's in our, you know, all of the vision that he's had, and really saw that there's always. He was a former fashion photographer for a variety of luxury brands in Paris for a number of years and in New York. And he just noticed women's underwear was evolving every year. It might be every 6 months. There's a new fabric, a new way that it cut, a new, you know, everything. And he was just like, wow, men are just wearing what our granddad's dads wore. Like we're just wearing the same thing. And, you know, we took it a step further where it was like we're the modern minimalist man. In that standpoint, we don't need, you know, not to call anyone else out. We just don't need another man's name all over our waist. You
100%.
know, that's just like not a thing that our founder was cool with. And our logo's minimal, and it there's a little abrasion, like a lift on it, so you can always find the front of it.
Thanks, dude.
and it just is I can't wait to get you some. I
Yeah.
wish I
Dude,
got you some like last week so that
yeah,
we could be
I'm
talking about
sold,
this on the
man.
call.
This is incredible. How do you guys see like subscription as a pathway for you, or the kind of sales cycles too erratic to kind of lean into subscriptions? Because this is something that it's like, because I see subscriptions. I guess let me give you my viewpoint, and then you can counter or give me your thesis. But I think one of the challenging parts about subscriptions is cadence. I have brands that I love that I've nuked the subscriptions because the cadence is off, right? And then I end up like a prepper with a whole cabinet full of like Huron deodorant or whatever. And it's like, dude, I'm never going to use this in a lifetime. Like, and so, but something like this is so interesting. I think where subscriptions gets quasi cool is you send me my subscription and then maybe like a mystery box, or like you get me this, like almost like in a way like cologne, right? Because you have all these unique cuts where it's like, here's your everyday driver, that's your subscription, and then we're going to throw in like the sport brief or whatever. Maybe that's the date night underwear or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? To get me into these other gateway products or samples. But like, do you guys think of subscriptions at all, or is that it's just a bridge too far, you think?
100%. It is actively on my mind as of this year. So what's interesting with subscription is that at first, we took the 3 to 4 years of data from our customer base, understood purchasing behavior, purchasing cadence.
Yes.
Now, different cohorts perform very differently.
Yeah.
And the buying behavior for certain people, knowing the price point that we have, we're not always able to capture our ideal customer. There are people who are customers that we love and care about, who we believe are probably not our most ideal customer base that we want to drive LTV, and they're going to spend $300-$500 over the course of their time with us. But when it comes to socks, it becomes a really interesting conversation. When we launch socks in very near term, in the next quarter, I'm really excited. People lose socks. That's the nature of socks. That's every sock company, and that's why a lot of sock companies exist, because they lose socks.
100%.
Now, how we can now play with that idea of subscription on socks, or take it a step further, and another conversation that I've been having internally with our team is the concept of membership.
Yes, this is what I was going to get at. Okay, keep going. I love this.
Access to
I love this.
Better pricing, limited edition color drops. I don't even know, like, see, it's all about volume for us, right? I don't know how many of our customer base, and a big part of 2025 is surveys for us. So we're gonna really like lean into surveys this year and really extract a lot of customer data.
What are you using? No, or what are you using?
I'm actually like trying to figure out what's going to be the best place. As of now, I was originally going to go with Okendo's surveys product, which has been really built out now. Amazing. And then everything fully integrates into Klaviyo.
Love
so you
it.
have every piece of that
The
data
CRM,
in that.
I love that.
In that customer profile. So membership is going to be interesting. The subscription concept is going to be interesting for us to flush out, because it depends on the how we go about it. But both are very much so on the table. Both are top of mind for me. And I'm going to leverage surveys and the data I extract to then help build out the program that eventually will exist, the cater for exactly that. And I want it, like you said, the cadence is always the toughest part.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where my mind goes to membership as opposed to subscription. Pay a certain fee or a certain, access price. And now you've got access to limited edition. And these people don't always need a discount either. The ideal customer doesn't need a discount.
I would argue they don't care about the discount.
They don't care about
they want to give you more money. I think this is the biggest mistake people make during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is they give the deepest discounts to their best customers. The best customers don't care about that. They want to feel exclusive. They want to feel first. They want to feel like really important. Obviously, you need to give them something, but don't like give them percents off. Like, hey, buy 3, get 1 free, or hey, buy 4 briefs and then we'll send you a free pair of socks, or like that's enough for them. They just want they want to feel important, because like, dude, for better or worse, man, people get treated differently. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not a good or a bad. It's just an is. And like somebody that spent $3,000 with me should get a different kind of touch point than somebody that's spent 30. And it's not a good or a bad. It's capitalism, man. It is what it is. And like, you want to make everybody feel special, but the people that are the ride or dies, you should make them feel really important. And I think, dude, I couldn't have thought of a better answer. I think membership for this brand, absolute no-brainer, dude. I wouldn't even offer subscriptions. I would offer memberships. And the way you're thinking about it, in the exclusivities, certain colorway drops, I think you can even go as far as to figuring out where your customer clusters are. And you could start throwing like little baby real life events. I mean, from what I see here, dude, this has the DNA of a lifestyle brand. I mean, it's sexy. You have the tech behind it. You have the vibe. The founder is an incredibly good looking, awesome human. It sounds like there's all the building blocks here to kind of make like a positive cult of like, dude, do you have like fitness plans around this? Do you have workouts? Do you have goals? Do you have like an artist corner? Like all of this weaved behind, like, you want the best tech fabric on the planet. Come join us. I couldn't endorse it anymore, dude. I think that is so interesting. I mean, the other thing too that could be really interesting as well is figuring out like, is there interesting collabs around? Because you just saw the Skims Nike, right? And so for you guys, maybe that's the vector to get into that fashion, because I think fashion is a terrible industry. Dude, it's so hard. Like, it's the hardest industry. I think it's the hardest industry because you have to make something really cool for a year and then be like, oh, that shit's not cool anymore. This shit's cool, but it's really not that different. Wherein like, for example, like SaaS or tech, I can literally have a different product. Or Apple's like, hey, we have more memory and the phone's faster every year. It's like, okay, cool. Where fashion is just recycling shit, dude. Like, you make it cool, and then you got to make the old stuff not cool, so nobody wants that. And the new, like, it's so hard. But having this lifestyle vector, and then you have like, almost, you could even have like an elevated line, right? That's like $200 or something, like something where it's like, hey, this is our Hermes, or you get where I'm going. Where and then you start 100%. Because that's the other way where you can, having a community can be great. And then you can tier it in that way so everybody feels special. They're in the club, but some people are on the dance floor. Some people are in, the tables, and then there's the people in the VIP section. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's in the club having a good time, and then there's just different tiers for it. I couldn't be more bullish on a membership. That is really blue flame thinking. I love that, man. I think more brands would do better with a membership, because the way I describe memberships to people, subscriptions are transactional. I have a subscription to AT&T. I fucking hate, you can have great businesses, but not great brands with subscriptions. I hate AT&T, and I give them boatloads of money every month because I want my phone to work. But a membership is something emotional. It's internal. I'm part of a club, like a Soho House, or Sealy does this really good, the cycling gear, where you can get part of their membership. And amongst other things, when you travel, you can go to a Sealy bike shop and rent a bike for free, super high performance bike for free, to go do your ride, so you don't have to travel with your bike. Like, that kind of stuff is like surprise and delight, and part of things that is, dude, I couldn't be more bullish on that. That's a brilliant idea, Arjun.
I'm super excited, and everything you said, like, are all things that we're actively thinking about. Finding for us as an early stage business and a very lean and mean team, we're trying to figure out the right tangential brands that share a potential customer that could figure out some kind of avenue where it's baked into our membership. And find those opportunities, whether it be your 8 Sleeps of the world. And now, sure, we're a fabric company that happens to make apparel right now, but
maybe do sheets.
You best believe we can make some sheets. You best believe we can make some towels. You best believe we can make the whole gamut. But now, is that what we want? That's a whole other conversation. Totally. But to your point of the collaborations, the limited edition drops, there's internal discussions. We're a little bit, pretty close to the World Cup, but we've already tested multi-panel color of our underwear. And so, just like the idea that we could have something with a flag, or, like the colors of a country that we launch in a new market, introduce, new audiences. So there's a whole world of possibility that has entered the fray now over the last year and a half, just thanks to the founders' work on the product dev side. that allows me to really get my imagination going and his imagination going. And so we can kind of figure that out as we go.
I think that's
membership is definitely a big one.
Yeah, membership is, I mean, it's perfect here. I kind of jumped the shark. You have any crazy Gary stories? Is he like what he like in person, like exactly how he comes off in videos?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So
But
just
in
super
the
high
best
energy.
way.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah.
best way.
Yeah. I love
Like
Gary.
as somebody who, to be completely honest, I before I entered Vayner, I happened to probably be one of the fewest people that have ever worked at Vayner that didn't exactly know who Gary Vee
Yeah,
was
yeah,
prior to getting there.
yeah.
Then I got there, then I understood the magic, and I understood this is Gary's world. And I got, I know Gary knows me, and
Yeah.
we've had multiple conversations over the years. He is so sharp, one of the sharpest humans that I've ever met. The way I'd see him work those 4Ds rooms with 12 completely different businesses with completely different people and goals and everything, and the way that he was spinning ideas for them that they all were like frantically writing down because they were like, oh my God, that's going to make me money. Oh, I should start a podcast. Oh, I should XYZ figure out long form content that I can then split up into, I want to, improve my personal brand. And then all the way down to businesses, whether you're CPG, SaaS, B2B, any kind of thing, he was with it. And so it was just really awesome to see him operate for that long, for 5-6 years. Obviously there was a period of COVID, so it wasn't there in the office with him, but the energy in Hudson Yards, the energy in the office was incredible. My time at Vayner was amazing, and I was so grateful. And he gave me the blessing to come full time to As We Move, because As We Move was a 4 or 5 year client, and so it was a big step, and I was really grateful.
Dude, those are the real G's, and that's why I love. I don't know Gary personally, just peripherally from all the stuff I've consumed about him, but he seems like that guy, and those are the kind of bosses that I love, where they always want what's best, not only for the company, but what's best for you. And if there's a divergence there, it's like, hey, dude, can we fix this? If we can't, then like, how can I help you get to your next step? And I think that might be not great at the time for the business, but in the long run, it's just the best way to live, man. You just, I don't know. I want to support people and help people as much as possible. And, I think I'm a little hippy dippy, and whether karma exists or not, I believe it does. And like, even if it doesn't, worst case, I'm a good person. You know what I mean? Where I'm just helping other people do that. And at least I get to go to sleep at night. And do that. But okay, cool. That's awesome. Because sometimes they say never meet your heroes, where I've met some people that I've looked up to. I'm like, man, that guy sucks.
Awesome. Can't say that about Gary.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's an awesome human, and I couldn't be happier with the time I spent under him and learning overall just from everyone at Vayner.
I love that. It's beautiful. How are you guys approaching AI? Like, AI is all the hot topics, yada yada yada. Unfortunately, I think it is transformative, man. I'm old, so I grew up with the internet, and the internet was absolutely a bunker buster. But the internet really didn't displace knowledge workers or skilled labor. And I think AI is, and the best quote I've heard on AI, like, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using AI is going to take your job. And I've just been flabbergasted by how good Claude is, ChatGPT, deep research, Perplexity, like all these things. How are you guys leveraging it? How are you leveraging it? If you are, like, how do you kind of see it integrating into As We Move?
It's a great topic that we discuss every day. It's something that over the last 6 months, I'd say I've taken that spearhead approach of trying to figure out how to apply it for our business. Yeah. You have your Postscripts of the world, you have your tech partners who are able to leverage and plug in AI into that system for whatever that purpose is. But to figure out how to use it internally as a business has been a challenge. So for me, my immediate use case went to copywriting.
Yeah.
I wasn't like the biggest, I knew that there was room for improvement in the tone of our voice, our brand voice, what the content that we're creating. And it was hard. It was hard to figure out what are we trying to send and what kind of information is valuable to the customer that doesn't have to deal with necessarily selling our product, but can we add value as we move in their inbox, just whatever the case might be. And it's changed the game. We are saving money. We have made changes in the internal kind of partners that we have, and I've taken on a little bit of that responsibility where I feel really confident in my ability to get the copy that I'm looking for, then pass it off to the designer that I need. And it's not something that I'll be doing long term, but for the initial period of peace of mind, that there isn't that feeling that we wake up one day and like there's an email that goes out that was scheduled a month ago, that was written, scheduled, sent. You open it that day in your inbox and you're like, I don't love that one.
Yeah.
And there is a different peace of mind that we move with now because we are that confident in the copy that's coming out, and then therefore the design and all of that. So that's the tip of the iceberg that I think anyone and everyone can figure out how to use. I'd say for the future state of what I think we're all looking for in some capacity is every company developing its brain, the company brain.
Yes. Complete. Oh, dude, nailed it.
And that's something that I'm really excited for. And it's tough because like now with ChatGPT, you've got projects. Obviously, you can create your own custom GPTs. I haven't done the custom GPT part yet, but I just figured out how to nail the instructions, nail the prompt, try to figure out like I need a subject line, header, preview text, blah blah blah, all the way down. I need it to be this long, et cetera, with this tone. And so I nailed that part. Now it's figuring out, how do we plug in Shopify? How do we plug in some of our finances? How do we fix, like one of my good friends works at Netflix. Yeah. They have an he was telling me they have an OpenAI integration where they have a Netflix custom OpenAI. Yeah. And it's the one-stop shop. You have a question about churn. You have a question about like what email went out. You have a question about anything. And that is what I believe going to be the future state, where every piece of data from everywhere is being plugged into a ChatGPT type of AI. Yes. And now you've built the As We Move brain. You've got customer service in there. You've got marketing in there. You've got finance in there. Everyone knows what's going on if they need to. And it can give you the answer that you're looking for, just like that. And right now, everything is Google Drive, separated into 17 different Slack channels, email, accounting software, etc. And it's so scattered. So that is where I see like the As We Move brain going eventually. And that will, every question we ask it will only make it more knowledgeable about the rest of the business. And that is like the vision that I'm looking to figure out how to implement. And right now it's through like individual projects. So email campaigns, Facebook ad headlines. Okay, now we're going to launch socks. What's our pricing strategy? What's our competitor landscape? Where are we trying to, how do we apply our current scaling discount? Does it work with the margins that we're going to have on socks? What's our intention with this product? The product description, everything. It's incredible. So when we have limited edition color drops, and we went from like 2 a year to 3 to now last year 4, this year 5 or 6. So people need newness. People want that new color. And all of our colors are always a color that's found in nature. Yeah. So our the one that we just had, which is really the color we just had was passion. It was originally for 8 months that we had been prepping for for this launch. It was called Fire, and it's scheduled to launch in the beginning of January. We know what happened in LA. And it was really tragic across the board. But we knew we had to pivot, and we knew that the copy that had been written, everything that was discussed, like boldness and ambition and all that good stuff, we had to scrap fully, and we had to flip the narrative on the color luckily we found the color of passion, and we kind of married that passion to connect, passion to make an impact. And
Kind of
we
like
kind of,
passion better, honestly, dude.
we
It
just
lands.
transitioned that real quick. But like ChatGPT was able to figure out, okay, cool. We've always had this kind of uh, emotional connection to the color. So how do we paint that color story? What is
So
passion about? What is orchid
that's so
about? What
cool.
is Earth about? We launched Earth right before Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Oh, I get
And
the
so now,
fire now. Okay, I get the fire now.
yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
now it's sky is coming out, right?
Yes.
So instead of me waiting for the color inspiration of what Ishi might have been thinking about or anyone else on the team might be thinking about, I'm like, just like you did this for passion, come up with a couple themes and emotional connections for sky. And it's just changed how we do everything. Like there's a place of safety to go to know that I can't have all the answers, and I'm okay with that. And but something I can train can help me figure out the answer that I want to get to.
Dude, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. Absolutely no notes. I think that is the best. I mean, that's a bazillion-dollar company, man. That's honestly what really excites me about AI. Like, I think right now in the next 6 to 8 months, if the company isn't already founded, this is going to be the most valuable AI companies. In a weird way, I think brand is going to be the biggest moat for AI because products are just going to get commoditized. And so you're going to get the first mover advantage. I mean, even you think Anthropic, right? Like Claude is arguably a better model than ChatGPT, but everybody knows ChatGPT and they just go use it. Perplexity is kind of leapfrogging Claude because Anthropic's branding is atrocious. Like, unless you live in SF, like nobody uses Claude. And I think you nailed it, dude. And I think the way you're thinking about it is so brilliant because that's my thesis is I think we're going to go back to like the Mad Men era of like you're going to have really small 5 to 7 person marketing teams, and they're all killers. Because the one thing AI will never be able to do, well, I guess I shouldn't speak in absolutes, but the one thing I think the most challenging thing that AI is going to have is taste. And so you being able to wake up every morning, right, and be like, hey, Arjun, here's the emails that we wrote, here's this, and you just become the tastemaker, not the generator. That's when I think things are just really, I mean, you're kind of doing it already now where you're like prompting it and then you're like, okay, make this better, do this, or give me this. And like, you're the tastemaker and this is like the workhorse. And I think that's what's going to happen. And you're going to see more effective and efficient marketing teams at smaller scales because the value is going to, in that value chain is going to happen at the taste level. And so AI can automate everything up to taste. And then it's your call to have the right taste and make the right calls. And that's where I think, ironically, it used to be like the direct response age. I think we're flipping back to the brand age, where I think people that have great taste in brand and just genuinely great taste like yourself, they're going to be the most sought after kind of profit centers because everything else I can use AI. Like AI is going to be better about buying ads, but they're not going to be better about figuring out, okay, you gave me 5 angles. What's the angle that's really going to resonate or tweak this? Like they're going to get you 90%, but the human's going to get the 10%. The analogy I use is if you play chess against a computer, you're always going to lose. But if you play chess with the computer against the computer person pairing always beats the computer. And I think that's what's going to happen with AI. And I also completely agree with you on the centralization thing. I think things are moving so quickly that being able to Google that. And I think what's also going to get really cool is you can start, again, going back to that Mad Men era where you can think of a brief and idea. So, for example, like we're going to launch this new passion color and you think of all that and then you build this almost Rosetta Stone. And then you have agents that create, here's a social media agent. I'm going to create the most impactful social media campaign. Here's a paid agent. I'm going to create the best ads. Here's an email agent. I'm going to create, but you have this central corpus of data that you construct at the brief, and then it starts to fork out into all these different channels, but you are still the brain behind it, if that makes sense. And so now instead of
100%.
having to think of like, okay, here's this, but then how am I going to do for the channels? All I got to think of is like, what's my like Rosetta Stone for this marketing brief? Here's the campaign. Here's what I want out of it. Okay, now figure out what channels and how hard to go on these channels, what ads to create. I think that's going to be the future of marketing. But again, that's going to be why I think tastemakers and people that can understand how to emotionally connect with customers are going to be the most sought after marketers. That's going to be the new generation of performance marketing, in my opinion.
Well, what I'd say, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. One thing that's really interesting for especially like everyone who's in this space who's just seen the boom of e-com, has
Yep.
seen the boom now of AI. And when you're thinking about the customer, me 5 years ago as a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, I'm not that as we move customer, right? But I had over the last 5 years, I'm also exposing myself to a variety of experiences that will hopefully, maybe I'll become the ideal customer of As You Move myself. And I have to audit that day in and day out. Am I the customer? And then I speak with whether it's men or women on our team, anyone adjacent. Hey, like you are the customer as a man, period. Right? Like, so how do you want to be spoken to?
That's exactly
How
right.
does that individual? And the last thing I'd say is like whether something I think a lot about is customer service, right? Because everything else is excellent. See, for everything else is important. Everything is important, right? But to have a premium brand, to be able to speak with an elevated tone, and then the touch of personalization. If your customer service team does not look at, and I learned a few of these things the hard way a couple of years ago. Your customer service team is not looking at the order history of the customer and have an intimate understanding of exactly what they're doing and like what behaviors they've taken, what are they looking for, how much have they spent, and then how to then treat. Not that you should treat that differently, like you should treat them
Give
with
some
perspective of hey, like I know you love this now. Candidly, we've switched over agencies. We're in the process of training our new customer service agency. And one of the big things I requested from them from the get-go before I signed the contract was we need concierge. Like we need like
dude, you get it.
You need
you absolutely get it.
And it's my job to figure out how to turn what typically is a cost center for every business into a revenue generating opportunity.
You get it, dude. You fucking get it. There's a great read if you haven't on Isidore Sharp, the founder of Four Seasons. I'll send you the link to the book. It's exquisite. It is exquisite. But dude, man, you were impressive in person. But dude, now that we've gotten now I know why the keys.
We didn't even talk business like that.
Yeah, I know, dude. You get it, man. You get it. I don't think I've encountered somebody that gets it so much, man. This is As We Move's lucky to have you, dude. You're not only you're that rare blend of operator and strategist. And I think sometimes if you go too far strategist, it's almost like if you have too much idea power on the team and not enough execution, you just get a whiteboard of awesomeness, but nothing happens. And if you got a bunch of execution, but no ideas, you just end up chasing your tail. And you've struck the perfect balance, man. The way you're seeing your company or the company As We Move and the market, I couldn't endorse more, man. I mean, this is
thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Really, really impressive. Okay, last question and we'll wrap up. What is your equation of excellence? What do you think excellence is a function of?
Hard work. Probably probably the most I'd say like hard work. Hard work and curiosity. I think the blend of those two will take you places that if you stop being curious, you're tired, you're lazy, you're in a mood, whatever is going on, that output, and your work can be very technical, doesn't have to be creative. But the way that's thinking and the way you're thinking about it, if you're not curious, if I'm not checking in on, hey, what are our nexus? What's nexus? And for every state sales tax, oh, okay, what is like? When does that happen? And not that it's my job to, but I know that it's important, and it is my job to be aware of everything that is important, just so I'm dangerous enough that I'm not like I know when to raise a red flag. Hey, Ishi, like XYZ, like something needs to happen. We need to be careful here, XYZ. And I think my curiosity of all around areas of the business. It's funny because what I was telling you in the beginning of the call, a part of my journey was like, I thought I wanted to go into finance, did econ, thought I was just going to be a business person. Yeah. From finance to banking, whatever the path was going to be. And now, although my path has been marketing, I do see myself more as a operator type.
Oh, for sure,
across the board. And I'm really excited for how that's going to evolve and how I'm going to evolve with the business, because it's going to need different things from all of us at different times. And so I'm really excited to be curious when those things happen and then put in the work to make sure that we're maximizing all of our opportunities.
Yeah, man. Beautiful answer from a beautiful human. And I would co-sign that, dude. You have a lot of CEO energy and aura. I wouldn't be surprised in 5 to 10 years you're driving your own boat because you're seeing the field in a really interesting way. And I think you nailed it with curiosity, because there's a certain aspect of like the worst thing is unknown unknowns. Known unknowns, totally fine. I know there's a monster possibly behind that door. I'm going to put a gun next to my bed just in case that monster comes. But the unknown unknowns, that's when you get blindsided and can really shake up a company. And without curiosity, you never uncover those. Exactly. Dude, this is incredible. Arjun, how can people find you? How can they buy the best underwear on the planet? How can they sign up for the t-shirt drop and possibly the membership that's coming soon? This time's yours, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on Twitter at Arjun K. Rastogi on Twitter. I'm not super active, but I'm following everyone and I'm definitely paying attention. On LinkedIn, I'm definitely starting to as some of our testimonials and partnerships kind of occur. So you can find me on LinkedIn as well. For As We Move, aswemove.com. Use code Arjun for a little extra something special there. And yeah, I think, look, every listener should upgrade their underwear. So if you're listening, come through to As We Move, and hopefully it'll be something that you like.
Facts. I love it. Arjun, thank you so much for the time, man. This was awesome. And then I got a couple events that I'll ping you offline about that we're doing in New York that I think you'd really dig. We're actually doing we're doing a NetSuite. We're going to go see the Ant-Man when the Timberwolves come. So I'll get you into that.
Say less.
Say less, Sam.
Say less.
Awesome, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you aren't, go over to FermontCommerce.com, go book a demo, go make my boss happy, go create funnels as quickly as you create ads. And then we also have an incredible newsletter that goes out every week, curated by the indomitable Alexa Kilroy, called The Geometry of Growth. You can sign up right on the website. And thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support. Ping us if you need anything. Go buy some underwear. Go follow Arjun. And yeah, really appreciate everything. Arjun, thanks so much, man. This is awesome. One of the best pods we've had on the show. So I really appreciate you taking the time. And I appreciate all of you listeners that made it this far. We'll see you next week.